Believe it or not, The Wire celebrated its 20-year anniversary last month, and a former actor of the show just shot a music video celebrating it.
I'm going to be in the not camp on this one. I cannot believe it's been 20 years. But we're talking about the one and only Chaney, and this morning Trey's back with us, back in D.C., and in the loft for the first time with a very special performance. Trey, take it away.
Fox 5, good day, D.C., Chaney. It feels good to be home. Check it out. Y'all ready to party? Plot plan, put myself in position. When I landed The Wire was my first audition for Bay back in 2001. Ended up playing Pooh, how my story begun. They say everything happens for a reason. What was one episode ended up 5 seasons. The last man standing, last one breathing. The world was tuned in every Sunday evening. David Simon, he just don't miss when it comes to connecting the streets and law enforcement. People cried when my brother Bodie died. Man, old dog, you just couldn't let it ride. I should have known Marlo ordered the hit. Bodie talked to McNulty, assumed that he was snitching. The Wire is #1 on everybody's list. It feels good looking back and know we made a hit. The Wire, we set the whole world on fire. When you do it for the culture, it never expires. Critically acclaimed, groundbreaking television. 20 years later, consider us the realest. The Wire, I set the whole world on fire. When you do it for the culture, it never expires. 20 years acclaimed, groundbreaking television. 20 years later, check it. It was a very sad day when we had the off Wallace, but look at Black Panther, Killmonger on fire. The Wire, best show, critically acclaimed, groundbreaking content, even to this day. Some of the most iconic scenes, legendary. I still can't believe Michael did Snoop dirty. Rest in peace, Michael K. Williams. Your physical is gone, but your energy will live. It's full circle when they talking about me. 20 years later, and what do we see? Officer Gordon Hawk, yeah, I play a police. HBO, we own this city. Let's go. The Wire, lay the blueprint for the future. Created real stars, now we names that you used to. Gave realistic portrayals of urban life. When you talk about my show, make sure you get it right. The Wire, we set the whole world on fire. When you do it for the culture, it never expires. Critically acclaimed, groundbreaking television. 20 years later, consider us the realest. The Wire, I set the whole world on fire. When you do it for the culture, it never expires. Critically acclaimed, groundbreaking television. 20 years later, consider us the realest. Fox 5, good day, DC, my family. Chaney, thank y'all so much. Feels good to be home.
I think you just set the loft on fire. So good to see you, friend.
It's good to have you home.
What's up, man?
Good to see you. Making a special trip back up from the South. It's good to see you. You know, it's funny, I was looking as just before you started singing that, and I love all the lyrics too. And I'm glad that you mentioned some of the folks who are not with us anymore as well as a tribute. But I went back and I was like looking up, I'm like, okay, Pooh at the Wire 20 years ago. And I was like, wow. Do you ever look back at that and think, that was me 20 years ago? This is crazy.
Man. You know, it's a full circle moment for me. A lot of people don't even know that The Wire was my first job as an actor, the first time I had ever auditioned. So who knew 20 years later that this would be considered one of the most groundbreaking, critically acclaimed shows of all time. And I mean, come on, Fox 5, Good Day DC practically watched me grow up, you know, and for The Wire to just have the impact that it does on the world. And now we fast forward into 20 years later, we own the city, me playing a cop.
I know. Let's see. Talk about, drug dealer, then now we're a cop. Yeah. And then we were a saint and a sinner in between, or maybe you're still both those.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely.
Who knows? Yeah. You know what I do really think about, though, is the fact that, you know, when The Wire was on and everybody loved it, you're right, like it was amazing. But you're right, the fact that we're 2 decades out and people still talk about that show, did you get that sense when you were in it at the time, or no?
Well, when I was in it, I just knew that we were creating something special. Did I know 2 decades later, 20 years later, that it was going to be considered the biggest, most groundbreaking, critically acclaimed, people really relating to it? I did not know that. But to still be in this business, longevity, the consistency, and just, you know, showing other actors and artists that all you got to do is stay consistent and never give up. and you could be up here 20 years later.
You say that, Trey, but we know you've been hustling the whole time. You don't, you don't
Right.
slow
This
down.
is like one of the hardest working guys in the business. Come on.
You earn what you have.
Thank you.
The new show is We Own the City, which is out now. I'll ask, take what Holly said and put it on a broader spectrum. So you go from the drug scene of The Wire to now playing a cop in this. Can you leave one series behind completely when you go from one show to another, or are those characters still kind of in there in some way?
Well, you know, it was a little hard to shake Poot, you know, but now I'm playing this police officer, Gordon Hawk, works for the Hartford County Narcotics Task Force, and my role is just basically, you know, we're solving the early drug overdose cases, and my partner David McDougal, you know, it's just a whole bunch of different layers of the character.
So you're not thinking, what would Poot do in this situation? You're just like, I'm locked in on the new script.
Yeah, I'm locked in on a new script right now, just getting things together for it. Yeah.
All right, so we're 20 years after the fact of The Wire. Where are we 20 years from now?
We're going to be in some big television films. We're going to be producing a whole bunch. Y'all see my company, Chaney Vision Entertainment. We just put out Undeniable, the Trey Chaney story documentary, which is on Tubi. You know, so it's just a whole bunch of different.
It's fantastic. Saints and Sinners getting a re-release as well.
Yeah.
Good, because 20 years from now, Holly and I will be retired watching you and whatever you're doing.
Exactly. But remember us, please.
Oh, no.
Please,
Always.
don't ever forget us.
I love y'all. All right. Just like I pointed out, Saints and Sinners is on Hulu now, all seasons.
All right. Well, if by chance we are still here in 20 years, please come back and see us again.
Let's do it.
Always welcome.
We'll be in the handicap parking, though. We'll at least have good parking spots at
Most
that time.
definitely. Most definitely, yeah.
Thank you, Trey. Always good to see
you.
him. Give him a follow on social and check out We Own This City, which is out now and it is streaming. So check it out. Thanks, Trey.
Thanks, Trey. Always great to see you.